Hello, everyone. Welcome to Quest Unplayed. Another episode has begun. Quest Unplayed is where three gamers talk about everything about gaming and have fun together. I am George, the co-host of Quest Unplayed, and this quest is joined by Anthony
Hello, everyone.
and also Zach.
Hi.
And we have another guest today, Josh.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, thank you for joining everyone.
Hi, Josh.
Before we start, this podcast is sponsored by Minimap, your ultimate gaming hub, and a gaming companion app. You can sync your game accounts, make your own game collection, connect with your gamers in our community, enjoy your original content, and basically do anything and everything about gaming. And I would like to play the fun Hawaiian style, our sponsor video. Before we always love these.
Get ready.
Yes. We got to dance to this. I don't know.
I'm waiting.
I'm waiting.
Shoulders are loose.
I'm waiting to.
I just need a coconut to put straw in it.
All right.
Catchy.
Okay. Thank
know,
you.
right?
And starting off last week, we have started doing these, gamer job quizzes that also is kind of like pushed by Minimap. And you guys can also do these tests if you come to Minimap. And we would like to do this for every guest we have. So let's quickly do these. Are you ready, Josh?
Ready?
Okay. So it's finally weekend after a long, tiring week. Which combination should I try? Ask a friend to play a video game together, or finally turning on the game I bought last week alone?
Ooh. The second one is tempting because I'm a big RPG guy, but pretty much the first one is what actually happens every weekend.
Okay. Okay. Number two, the new game that just released isn't my type, but a friend is urging me to play it. It's not my cup of tea. Refuse at first, but would be fun if we play together. Or listen to my friend's words as soon as possible and just play together.
Usually it's not my cup of tea, but I usually do just check it out and it usually is good fun playing together, whatever it is.
Yes, that's actually true. Third question, you are thinking about joining a community with strict terms to get game information. First, from self-introduction to attendance, it's too much for me. Second, it has good information, so you just stick to the terms and do whatever they ask.
Given my current schedule, it's probably going to be too much for me.
Okay.
I'd say.
Okay. Question 4, before buying a game, you carefully read over the people's reviews, watch the trailer, check the price, or if the game looks interesting, you just trust your instinct and make a purchase.
I'm usually the analytical one, so yeah, I check everything out.
Nice. If someone is watching me play a game from behind, it's a perfect opportunity to show my amazing gameplay, or I'm actually good at it, but due to my pressure, I'm missing skill shots.
Second one. Yeah, definitely second one. I've done that so many times.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Question 6, you're playing a newly released game for the first time. Rather than having regrets later on missing something, you go over to tutorials, or the game looks similar to the ones you played before, so you just skip tutorials.
Ooh, this is kind of a 50-50 one, but I do skip tutorials a lot and then go back if I'm confused by something.
Okay. Question 7, you're playing a mystery-solving game. Based on years of experience in my mystery-solving games, that guy is the culprit, or they look suspicious, but there's no clear evidence, so let's do things one step at a time.
Probably the first one. I cut to the chase sometimes.
Okay. Question 8, in order to equip the rune that increases defense by 0.01%, you have to return to the lobby. You have to... you don't want to go do that because friends are waiting. You just go, or you just tell them to wait and go back to the lobby.
I think at 0.01%, I think I'm just going to go ahead with the friends that are waiting.
So first one?
Yeah.
Okay. During gameplay, your companion character has been bitten by a zombie. You might be able to find a cure, so you decide to accompany them, or everyone in my group can be infected, so I choose to kill them.
I don't have the heart for the second one. The first one, it's got to be.
Okay. Question 10. If I don't
Sorry,
express it,
Grandma.
I feel like I experienced it between friends. Okay.
No, I really wouldn't have the heart for it.
Yeah, I guess very difficult situation. If I don't express it, I feel like I keep losing because of my friend. You say, "Oh, are you feeling that okay?" and lift up your friend's spirit, or send them a link to the character tips and tricks.
Probably the first one. I don't think I'd feel feel comfortable being like get good.
Okay. Question 11. The character has had bad performance, but the appearance is totally my type. Considering the balance of my party, I cannot put them in my party, or I have to put my favorite character in the party no matter what the cost is.
Favorite character goes in the party. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
My current desktop is messy with tons of icons, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother my gameplay, or I hate chaotic things. I neatly clean my desktop.
My desktop is covered in notepad documents, so very messy.
Okay. Question 13. Before getting into the game, I searched the internet just in case I end up missing achievements, or I never played games while caring about achievements.
I've never been a big achievement person. Yeah,
Oh.
I do get a little miffed when I miss one, but I don't like usually go back about it. So
Last question. You happen to play lots of games. Play a game I feel like playing at the moment from my collection, or you feel at ease after making a game schedule on when to beat a certain game.
most games take me like 3 months to beat, so I think making a schedule would be an absolute nightmare. So definitely the first one.
Okay. Let's see which character you come up with.
Here we go.
Okay. You
Oh.
are the chatty bard.
Chatty Bard?
I
think
played a
I've seen
bard
that.
in Baldur's Gate 3 with friends, so that seems spot on.
All right. All
Okay,
right.
let's
Except
read these.
I definitely do not talk way too much during voice chat. I'm usually the quiet one, so
Oh, okay.
How are you the bard and you're the quiet one?
well, you know, I play the music, you know.
I
Okay.
play. I
That's
the reason I
true.
said is I play in my Dungeon and Dragons sessions. I play a bard.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
They're
I
constantly
like
like, say something witty, and I'm like, God, I wish I would have picked a bard. I always got to say something witty.
Yeah, I was never very good at that.
Yeah.
So, do these descriptions describe you as a gamer? You're curious about a lot of things not related to the game itself.
True. Yeah.
You have some kind of competition with your friends using a game.
I'm not very competitive. I'll say that. But
And the third one, you said you're the quiet one, right?
usually, yeah.
Okay. I'm serious about decorating items, skins, or...
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Okay. You rarely get mad, but if I end up get pissed, it means I have pushed my own limits.
Yeah, that's probably pretty accurate.
Okay. While I'm having so much fun playing game, oftentimes I suddenly wonder, what am I doing?
Yes, that's true.
You're very popular amongst people, but also get hurt like inside as well.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Nice. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, it's just these are just for having fun.
I'll be the quiet bard.
Okay, the quiet part.
The quiet bard.
Quiet part. Okay, we
Quiet
should probably
part.
add that.
I
feel
sit in
you're
the
playing
corner
my,
and just like strum my lute. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
That's hilarious.
Okay. Before we begin or start our first waypoint, we should ask Josh to introduce himself a little bit and the game itself. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the game you are
sure.
developing?
My name is Josh Halloran. I'm a indie developer from Australia, and most of the time I'm working on Japanese-style turn-based, story-rich role-playing games. So, my most famous is the 8-Bit Adventures series, which you can see on screen right now. 8-Bit Adventures 2 launched on PC in January last year, and it just launched on console last week. So that's Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S. So the whole gamut. So yeah, that's the sort of brief summary.
Nice. Okay. So we'll probably watch the full version of this trailer, anyways, when we're talking about 8-Bit Adventures
Wow.
too.
It's got really loud all of a sudden.
Oh, sorry. Oops.
Cheers!
Everyone. I just wanted to talk loud. Maybe I'm the chatty bard here. Okay, sorry.
That fits.
was
That works
combined.
out.
Okay. Before we go into the companion waypoint, let's dive into our first waypoint, the bulletin board waypoint. This is where we talk about the weekly game news and whatever happened in the gaming industry. First, the news we have is the bunch of the layoffs and stopping the support of these game developers and developing companies. So, what do you want to talk about, Anthony? The first one we want to talk about is Ubisoft.
We can talk about Ubisoft.
Okay, so the Prince of Persia has.
Mhm.
I thought
I'm
the game was
surprised.
really good.
I thought it was good too.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like it's the first like kind of like platformer of the
Yeah.
Persia series. If you
That's
don't
true.
count the original, like the ones back in 1990s, those ones. I remember playing those in
Yeah.
my DOS.
I mean,
I remember
it
playing the very
carries.
first one.
Yeah, it carries an iconic
Me too.
name, so you would assume that if it has that strong name of a game title, it will just keep surviving no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they decide to disband the team behind it,
Mm.
I think the
supposedly.
problem, the problem, right, is that like when was the last Prince of Persia game? Like 2011, I think. It was like Forgotten Sands,
Mm-hmm.
something like
Yeah.
that. And then before that, you had the 2008 reboot, which didn't go anywhere. And so before that, really, you've got like the Sands of Time trilogy. So Ubisoft haven't really cultivated the brand for a
Mhm.
while.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to saying that, as you kind of mentioned when the last couple came out, I'm almost wondering if it would be bad if they actually, I don't know, do they still have the IP rights? Because they might actually be able to get a team that makes it to where people want to play it.
Well, if you recall, I think during the Ubisoft showcase they did in the past summer, they announced that they have the next Prince of Persia. They're doing the Prince of Persia remake,
Mm-hmm.
and they have
Yeah,
a team doing that. So that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
No longer.
Well,
Right?
it might be a different team though. That's another thing.
That's what I'm
It's
saying.
yeah,
They
so-
might have a different team.
So just to clarify this one, yeah, it's like basically you had the Lost Crown team, so that was
Yes,
the
yes.
Metroidvania 2D
Yes,
game. That's
yes,
what's
yes.
been disbanded.
Yes.
The
Mhm.
originally it was a team in India that was making the Sands of Time remake, but then they moved it. I want to say to Canada in the end.
Mhm.
I think it's one of sort of the main Ubisoft teams, which is now working on the Sands of Time remake.
Okay.
So that's a different one again.
So Ubisoft has a place in Canada, huh? That
mean,
makes
They
sense.
have a
Yeah, Ubisoft
It's
has
everywhere.
everywhere. Yeah, it's in everywhere except
They
for
are
Korea,
everywhere.
though.
Really? Ugh,
Really?
okay.
well,
They,
yeah, except for Korea. The nearest one is Singapore, Ubisoft Singapore.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the what was it called? The pirate one.
The Skull and Bones, which
Skull and Bones, yeah.
people are reporting also that due to player count is low, they might cancel that also.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's
I feel like they're spreading themselves kind of thin, you know?
But then again, it might be that whole thing that we talked about. You remember weeks ago we talked about how Ubisoft might get bought out by a private business
yes,
by Tencent.
yes,
So
yes.
if that's the case, this is probably all the moves that leading to that buyout.
Trying to get more lean.
Hmm
Yeah, but Assassin's Creed, or I'm sorry, Prince of Persia IP is really, really. I don't know. It's like a fun and like it has like long memory of
It
like
does.
history. And
It was
like,
a great
it
it
was.
was a great platformer. It was
Yes.
super fun.
Yes, it was. Those like the needles they come out and then you like fall into that and you die. Like those
Yeah.
the ones the
Yeah.
old versions like you just like jump like swing jump it and
Swing and jump, yeah.
yeah those were really really nice. And then
I remember
yeah.
a game that was just like Prince of Persia, but like way back in the 90s on the computer where you had a magic carpet you would shoot orbs off of and stuff.
I had that one too.
Yeah, I was trying to think of what it was called, but I was like, I
think
swear
it was
that was a
called
Prince of
Magic Carpet.
Yeah, that's what it was called. But
Sorry.
every time I talk about Prince of Persia, I think of that magic carpet game because it was a lot like it. Like you had platforming, but then you also had this magic carpet you would ride on and shoot orbs at people to stay alive. And I'm like, Okay, so I always get those two mixed up in my head when I think about like back in the day.
And to further
True.
confuse it, there was also Magic Carpet 3D and Prince of Persia 3D, and I think they came out in the same year.
They're trying to mess with
Oh,
us.
there they
See how
are.
it is.
Mhm.
Maybe Magic Carpet should have got with Prince of Persia as a super team. Then they could have been Prince of Persia Magic Market or Magic Carpet.
Maybe they should have done a
Crossover.
That'd be
collaboration.
interesting to
Yeah,
see.
crossover. Yeah, that would have been
Who
fun.
wouldn't want a Magic Carpet? Let's be honest.
True.
As long as you have seatbelts.
No.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
know, with the layoff changes, Ubisoft also changed a lot of other stuff. You remember about how Assassin's Creed Shadows got delayed and pushed back to February?
Yes, it did.
That's right.
They canceled the season pass. They said this would not have no season pass at all. Oh,
Mm.
so they reduced the price for that game also.
But why would they
That's a big
reduce the
change.
price? Like they need to make more money, right? I don't know.
Well, I
Well,
think
yeah, but they're trying to get what they trying to get. I think they got. This is the first time they got rid of a game that always had a season pass.
Hmm.
Like every Assassin's Creed had a season pass, and
Yeah.
so this one they basically said there'll be no season pass. Everything's out there. That's it.
I mean, to be honest with you, I get annoyed with season passes. Like, I think one of the things that season passes ruined for me is back in the day when you could just play a game and you found stuff that was unique. You didn't earn it by doing XYZ. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever played what is the name of the game? I do this every freaking time. The Remnant or whatever, Remnant 2 on Xbox.
Mhm.
Like you
Remnant
literally
yeah.
have to go around and find everything in that game. It is so fun. Like different types of armor, different types of weapons, and then classes. So maybe if they sell it at a decent price and they make it one of those types of games, it might actually be more fun. I don't know.
Mm.
This is my cry out to the industry.
The main challenge is just like with season passes, right? Season passes are part of the plan from day one.
Uh-huh.
And so, whereas I think it used to be like, okay, you finish a game and then you sort of think about, all right, what else could we do with the foundation we've created? I think with the Ubisoft Assassin's Creed games, usually it seems to be, part of the plan is to like, think about this extra content that we can sell. And so, even though their games are really chock full of things to do, I mean, Valhalla was massive, and so was Odyssey. But I think there's still a bit of a sense that the way that they approach it is maybe just feels a little, I don't know, reductive.
They just want to keep giving people stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For $10.99, you could get this Game Pass.
$10.99. That's a cheap one nowadays.
I tell you, that's whenever I play a game and I'm like, oh, the Game Pass is only $10. Winner.
Yeah.
I can't remember what game it is I played all the time, but their Game Pass is like $5. I'm like, I love this game. My friend said, why? I was like, the Game Pass is $5. I was like, it's the best. I don't know. I think it's a Mega Strikers. You guys ever played a Mega Strikers?
No.
I heard about it. I just haven't played it yet.
It's like it's a MOBA, but it's a MOBA where your characters kick this thing called a core. It's a disc, or punch it into other people's goals and stuff. It's actually super fun. All characters have abilities, but the Game Pass was $5, and I was like, finally. Finally, one that I could purchase and not feel bad about. Like, hey, I can do $5. Just, let's lunch,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but I don't know what's going to happen to Ubisoft. I don't think it's going great for them. They're having experiencing a big downfall for them. I don't know. Didn't like their stock price also drop tremendously too?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that
that's
was after Outlaws.
That was bad.
Yeah, it plummeted.
I bet if you walk
And
by
then Tencent came in and then bought a whole bunch of it.
Yeah, they probably will. They can just probably buy the whole company and like, okay, this is pretty cheap.
like, listen, we'll save you.
Add to my cards.
Yeah.
If you walk by the main building, there's like fires coming out the windows and people are jumping and it was like broken windows everywhere. You're like, oh my God. Welcome to Ubisoft.
Yeah. And also the NCSoft Korean game company also is doing some reconstruction themselves. This is not something new, especially in the gaming industry in Korea. I mean, they haven't been doing so well. I mean, I know like Throne and Liberty has been doing pretty well. It was very exceptional. because a lot of
thought it was.
yeah, a lot of people in Korea was like, okay, another like Lineage, like another game that's like similar to the ones they have created. But then they had some good amount of people that are playing, and it was like in top 10 Steam like most played game at one point in Steam. But I mean, obviously, that's not going to carry the whole company. Of course, they have released several games before that, and they were all down into the same. They're in
I
the same
mean,
direction with the Ubisoft. So,
I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess when you think about it, games are always a hit or miss. So one game will be a big hit, the other one would just not be that big hit.
mhm.
It's hard
Yeah.
to tell.
Yeah, it's especially because these days, I don't know if this is always true, Josh, but like usually these AAA games or big games usually take like several years to develop at least because they want to put everything inside, like a good graphic, good story, good narrative, I don't know, soundtrack and all that.
The
So
whole nines.
yes, and which
Yeah.
already cost them a lot of money, and they're not sure if that's going to be the same trend as before. Like they started developing a game because it's going to take like 3 or 4 years, and then this
That's
game
exactly it.
is going to be popular, and then they have no
Yeah.
idea what's going to happen in like 3 years or 4 years after that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
And
I mean,
it's insane.
this is the thing, right? It's like, I mean, you say 3 or 4 years. I mean, a lot of AAA games, I mean, you'll hit 6,
yeah,
7.
exactly.
Like, but when you start development, I mean, say you start development 7 years ago. I mean, what Breath of the Wild just came out.
Yeah,
You might be chasing that,
yeah,
or
exactly.
you might, like whatever was popular at the time, and
Yes.
and so, the landscape has changed again.
Yeah.
By the time the game actually comes out, so it's really hard, I think, for AAA games to,
Mhm.
because they have such huge budgets, right? They are trying to
Right,
target
right.
the biggest audience possible because they need that to be able to actually make the kind of profit to
Mhm,
fund
mhm.
these like $300-400 million projects.
Right, right.
And so that's the thing. It's like how do you make that sustainable
Mhm.
across these
Yeah.
huge development times where trends are constantly changing in the industry? So
Yes.
I don't really think anyone has a good answer. I think probably the real answer in my mind is like scale back a bit, try and make games that you can make in like 3 years, so that you can kind of stay on top of the curve and and have like a regular release cadence. But
Mhm, mhm.
whether it's sort of, I mean, from what I've heard, certainly some of these companies have very poor management, and that's a lot of the reason why games take so long.
Right, right.
But just in general, I mean, games do take a really long time to make. I mean, even my game has taken me 9 years to get to this point. So
Wow.
it's just, unfortunately, it's the kind of industry where it's just everything takes a really long time, and how you mitigate that, I don't think
Yeah.
anyone's got a great answer.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
I was just thinking too. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, George.
Oh, I was just thinking, like, I think there are some, not all, but like, there are some indie game developers that are successful because it takes them shorter than the usual, like, I don't know, 6-7 years of development for AAA games. Rather, they would focus more into the narrative or just the gameplay and just focus
The
on
loop.
one perspective of like the entire game, and then they just like release in like 1 or 2 years. Or some of these games, it took them like less than a year and it becomes successful. So I think
And
that
that's
might
the trick.
Possible.
yes,
That's
that
how. I think that is honestly the secret to sustainability, and that's probably what you're going to see. Sort of, indie developers and probably smaller companies try and target going forward.
Yes.
Sort of, maybe sustainable profit rather than obscene profit.
yes,
So
that is true.
I mean, I think about some of the studios that I think are super amazing. Like we talked to Togue, right? Togue is, they're evidently doing really well, and they're super amazing. Bad Blood is another indie game. They're killing it, right? And so imagine if they took that mindset of, well, we got to put this big game out. It's going to take years, and I'm sure that most people wouldn't want them to do this because it might make the whole world explode. Or they're like, hey, let's just do a bunch of games that are indie based, right? Great story, the graphics and stuff like that are important, but it's not the main focus. Like we can go in there with some sweet pixel graphics and stuff like that, make it work, make it fun, and then just start chopping them out. Like all these titles like they used to back in the day. I think the whole system would explode. They're like, oh my god, like there's too many games. But I mean, there's so many AAA games I play, and I start falling asleep when I play them, and that's a bad sign. That's my ADHD going. What's the story? What? And so there's a couple of indie games I found myself playing, and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta go to bed. It's like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Because you're just so into you're like,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen next? Your eyes are
Yeah.
watering, it's all teared up, like, oh, I got work, I must quit. But it's all about that. It's all about what the game, how it makes you feel, not necessarily I gotta have the new gun that has the super cool glowy skin on it with the panda charm hanging off of it, and God knows what else. You're like,
Yeah.
okay,
That is
buddy.
very true.
Hey, before
want
we
us to
go
be
on, I have
funny?
one question though. Behind you, is that the original set for Star Trek? Okay, I just want to make sure.
It was.
I was like staring
Star
at it. I was
Trek.
like, hey, is that Captain Kirk's chair? All right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Anthony.
He has the. No, that's his office. That's his real office.
Yeah.
No, imagine if that was your office. Like, listen, number one, I need you to set up a stream. Set up your stream like that.
Mm.
Just the old school chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
I mean that is always the fun thing is it's like a wallpaper type thing. My dad got it for me like 10 years ago or something when I was setting up this office bedroom, and yeah, it definitely helps to make the space feel wider.
Yeah, I was looking at. I saw the red. I didn't mean to interrupt. Our conversation was great, but I was like, I saw the red, and then I saw the chair, and I was like, that's the freaking Star Trek.
Yep.
Deck.
This is
No, I
probably
love
the
Star
best
Trek.
background. This is probably the best background we have. So
Yeah. Yeah. This is we should have like a best background award, and then where all of our guests who has the best background
But,
award.
I mean, just take a
A
look
little
at it. You got,
pixelated achievement pops up on the screen for him. Like,
but as you see, he has a Kirby amiibo also back there.
Oh, I've got a few things
I
up there.
see it. I see it now. Okay.
all right, we're
Fun.
friends officially.
Nice.
Okay. Anyways, so moving on to the next topic. So Steam Next Fest ended on Monday. No, Sunday. No, Monday. Monday morning.
Yesterday.
Yes. That's 2 days. Oh yeah, yesterday. Anyways. So did anyone play any fun games during Steam Next Fest? I know Zach had played a lot.
I actually got tired of playing. There's a day I was like, I walked over and I was like, no, not doing it. And I just
You
I pushed
burned
my
out?
mouse away. I was like, I'm gonna go watch TV. I can't anymore. Like I was so worn out on all the games I played. But I played so many games that I was just like, God, I wish I could. I was annoyed by games that got in the way of the awesome games I found. I was like, why would I even spend time on this when I found this bad boy? When they come out, I'm gonna be broke. I'm gonna be broke. Well, almost every single one I liked as an indie title, which I'm pretty sure is not going to be super expensive, so that's great. But there was just games that I don't know. When I played it, I was like, "Wow!" Did you guys play the game, the driving game? It's like an RPG driving game. It's just Drive. Is what it's called, I think. It's literally you're on a trip, right, to go to your friend's house and play a video game with them, and you got to get there by Sunday. But you have to take all these different roads and stuff, and then there's events that happen on the road, and you have to combat them, and you pick up hitchhikers, and it's just like really good story. It's just really fun, and I was like, dude, this is genius, because the RPG battles literally you going over potholes and stuff, but it's engaging, and then there's this real good story. Like, do you want to pick up this hitchhiker? And most people would be like, no, but this is like, in the 80s and 90s, and when you do pick up a hitchhiker, haven't been murdered by one yet in the demo. I don't know if that happens or not. But, they all have abilities with them, or they do something, and they even can fight with each other. And it's just, I was really impressed by it. I was like, this is awesome. Like, I was like, I cannot wait for this to come out, because I just want to play this over and over again and just get to my friend's house. Because in the demo, I kept not making it to my friend's house. It's like, this journey's over. I was like, and like, there's like an option where you can call your mom and dad when you're in trouble for help. Because you start out off the road, like, you start off with this journey.
That is genius.
You start off with this journey for like $90 in your pocket. So you fill up your gas, and then you go in the gas station. You got to get food, because if you get tired, you have to stop and pull over and sleep. And then when you sleep, you have to energize, and then your car takes damage. It is super good. But I was like, it's called Keep Driving, I believe. Yeah, it's Keep Driving. And I was like, this is so good. Like, I don't know. It was right up there with that one I told you guys about that I still haven't stopped talking about, which is the one that was produced by Bad Blood, but the developers, some guy I was going to try to hunt down and see if he come on our thing, but it was that Sombra Tomnia one or whatever. I can't pronounce it, but that was really good too. I was like, these are such great games. And then I played games where I was like, why is this on here? This is horrible. The little tear came out of my eye. I was like, no. How about you, Anthony? Did you play anything awesome?
I did. I played a bunch of games. It was very overwhelming.
You're right. It was overwhelming.
Because you think about it, the amount of demos they have, and within that 1 week time period, you won't be able to play not even half.
Yeah. So I did a bunch of I did a bunch of dev interviews for whoever's participating in Steam Next Fest, and then they said like 4,000 games are participating in this Steam Next Fest alone. I'm like, how in the world are you going to be able to play like 10% of that, like 1% of that? The games that are all participating in within the week. I think it should be like a whole month or something. I don't know about you guys, but
at least.
I mean, I was sick for 2 days and I had plenty of time to play them. And there was one day I was like, I'm not playing any games today. I was just overwhelmed. Just like I was like, there's just too many. Like we need like a month.
Yeah, I think
it's hard.
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity for game devs to kind of like promote their games, right, Josh? Have you also participated in any of these Steam Next Fest?
Yes, I think originally it was called like Steam Summerfest or something like that. That was the very first one, and so I was in that. This was during the pandemic, and then I was in the one, I think it was the first Next Fest as well.
Mm-hmm.
After which they decided that you couldn't like go, you could only go in one. So I sort of used up my slot. So but no, I mean it was great at the time. But the main challenge for an indie dev, right, is just the fact that all the lists that Steam curates, they're all basically based on popularity.
Yes,
and a lot of the times popularity that you've already accumulated before the Next Fest. And so I think one of the challenges is that it tends to make sort of these semi-popular games just grow more popular rather than sort of allow an entry point for
small
games that kind of need a little more spotlight. But they've gotten gradually better about it in some ways. But I think that's still one of the great challenges. But just in general though, like you see a spike in wish lists, you see a spike in demo plays. It's really really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. That was one thing I was thinking is I get kind of annoyed by the way that they line up. This is the most. I know there's really no probably good way to do it with that many titles, but that was constantly in the back of my head. I'm like, am I losing? Is there something cool that we're not seeing because it's just buried? You know what I mean?
Games, almost certainly.
Yeah, that's that the whole time I don't know why I had all this existential dread, so they're worried about finding the games that just were super awesome. But I was like, God, I hope I'm not like as I'm looking around,
Man, that's how you pick your favorite genres first.
Well, well, and that's the thing is I have a wide amount of genres, so it's kind of rough. But I was gonna say, and also to what you're mentioning as a dev too, it could probably would it bother you, or does it ever get in your mind that when you are not considered to be one of those most popular, but you feel like you have a strong game, like I got to outshine these guys somehow, or is it just like I hope somebody sees my game?
I mean, I still find, well, I don't know, a lot of devs that I talk to anyway, it's kind of just like a sense of, look, you just can't compete, right? Like it's like if this game like has 50,000 wish lists, chances are that sort of my new title that's maybe accrued like a couple of thousand, like there's just no way in the algorithm that you can sort of outshine them. You've really basically got to hope that some a media outlet or some streamer or something like that like picks up the game and gives it some traction. Or that maybe the genre games will sort of help out for curation. But with so many games, it's hard.
Yeah, I heard. Let me interrupt you. I heard for indie devs, like marketing is one of the most like difficult parts to deal with because you have this great game that you have developed, obviously, and then you love this game and people are gonna love this, but then you have to find some way for these audiences to actually know your game in the beginning, and that's very. It's like a huge gap between there. Like you can't just like oh, I just created a Discord channel and everyone's just gonna randomly show up to this Discord channel and then
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
that's
It really
not
doesn't
gonna
happen.
happen. That's never gonna happen. So you have to like find
Especially
someone, like,
with Discord being limited.
exactly, and
Yeah,
also
yeah.
and obviously as an indie dev, like many indie devs don't have like millions of dollars to spend on marketing, obviously, so they have limited resources and limited marketing channels that they can use. So they just hope to just, I don't know, try to like spread or share their like on the early access keys with popular streamers, and like wishing or almost like praying that they actually play one of these games.
Pretty much.
And then like
that's a good way to describe it, because you just you send everything out, but like this is the problem, right? It's like every streamer, every reviewer, every outlet, their inbox is flooded every day with all these things, and it's like, how do they sort of sort through all the messages that they get? And of course sometimes like your email will just go to their junk mail or something like that. But there's all sorts of like little circumstances like that, so it's a hard code to crack. And one of the challenges that I've had sort of recently is like I hired a really good PR company, PR Hound, and they've done a great job of sort of getting the message out to all the 10,000 different outlets across the world and all that sort of thing. But of course then those outlets actually have to pick up the game.
Yes.
And even
That's
though
true.
or as we found over like the last few weeks, some outlets wanted to pick up the game, but because of sort of the crazy game release schedule that we've been having recently and coming up, it sort of like wasn't really in their capability to cover it. So there's a lot of challenges in that way. So
Yeah.
That's So have you, Josh? Have you actually worked in a big gaming company before, or is this like have you always been an indie game developer?
Yeah, just always an indie. Yeah, I've worked in other indie teams and things like that as well. But yeah.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so
Indie for life.
Yes,
right?
indie for life. You should have a T-shirt, "Indie for life."
Right?
I hope so.
It's got to look very like it's iron on letters. It's got to be like iron on letters. Some of it's crooked.
As cheap as possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this is a perfect time for us to actually talk more about Josh and the game. And before we do that, let's watch the trailer with the amazing music. Is everyone ready?
Yep. I'm preparing myself for the music.
Yeah. Whether you're ready. I'm just gonna play it. Yeah.
You?
So one thing I kind of like noticed is that like it went from like fantasy, like magic or wizard, and then all of a sudden like a tank and robot comes out. I'm like, oh, this is like a
Yep,
fusion of like like fantasy plus the modern world. So it looks very very interesting.
It's not an RPG if you don't end up fighting like a demigod in space by the end.
Yes.
You know,
Yes, yes,
I
yes,
think
yes.
generally speaking, the genre's always had like a relationship between like fantasy and sci-fi. So
Mm,
I
yeah,
think it's
All
fun to
right.
play with that.
I really
That's
really
true.
like that.
Even really like Final Fantasy One, like by the end, you're going full like time travel and like floating cities and all that sort of thing. So yeah,
That is
Yeah.
true.
You just mentioned Final Fantasy 2, didn't you?
Final Fantasy One in that case.
Oh,
But yeah.
one. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
going to say that's your game remind me a lot of that.
Yeah,
Is
well,
that the one
yeah.
where the character? Is that the one where the
Yep.
character name was like Ninja and like
Yep.
he had
Wizard,
no
Yep.
name?
Wizard,
Wizard.
Ninja.
Thief.
Was what's the guy that the big guy in the front? The tank's name is pretty much like.
Oh, you mean Final Fantasy
or-
Two?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the one on
that's
Nintendo
Nai.
where
Nai is
remember
the
when-
tank. Yeah.
yeah, where it was like warrior, ninja. You're like, okay, like they had so many characters, but the names. I actually my favorite. I think it was super cool. I used to love the look for the wizard though, because it was literally just like a big hat, and then some
And then
little
just, like, the little
eyeballs,
eyes.
little round
Yeah.
eyeballs. Like I was like, that's super cool. Like it looks dope. It's super cute. So no, I gotta ask because it's burning up inside.
Please.
The music. Where did you get this music from?
So this is composed by Sebastian Cruz, our composer. So he's composed a 78-song soundtrack for the game. It's available on like all the normal like digital music platforms. It just went up on Bandcamp a couple of days ago, it's on Steam and GOG and all the different places. So yeah, I think he's just done an incredible job. He uses FamiTracker, which essentially emulates the NES hardware. So it's a very sort of authentic sounding chiptune, but he's used a lot of techniques to sort of try and play with and explore that. I don't know if anyone knows the Famicom version of some of Konami's games, like Castlevania 3, had a special
Yeah.
sound
Oh, yeah.
chip. Yeah, so
Ninja Gaiden.
so he plays with all that kind of thing to sort of give it a more developed sound. But I think he did an incredible job. So yeah, thank you very much.
No, yeah, I was wondering when I was listening to it because I mean I think we were all kind of. I don't know if you guys have ever done this. I don't know how many of us actually drive in this room, but I have to drive quite a bit. And sometimes just to mess with people I'm driving, if they're coming with me for lunch or something, or just to have fun, I'll put a chip tune on as I'm driving.
Nice.
If for some reason I can see me listening to just like, driving here, it's a 45-minute drive for me to work. If there's nothing bad, is chaotic. So it's an adventure. So if you got that chip tune on, you feel like you pull up to a red light and then your little screen comes like, and then beep, beep, so I really liked it. Like it was pretty cool. So
Yeah.
I'm actually looking up it right now.
So that one track will be added next year because that track is actually part of some free DLC that we're developing.
Oh.
So that'll be early 2025. It'll get added to the soundtrack. But as I say, there's currently 78 songs in it. So there's a lot of similar styles of tracks. So yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
And also, I think as I was looking at your, the trailer videos here and there, and then like someone like this is kind of fun. Like someone on the comments said, shouldn't this be technically 16-bit adventure, not 8-bit adventure? I was like,
well, that was one of my questions I wrote too. I was like, do you feel like trying to I mean, actually, no. It looks like 8-bit to me. It don't look like.
This is for the interesting like detail for why people think it's more advanced than it is. So we draw the sprites at like the 8-bit size, which is confusingly 16 by 16 pixels. That's like the tile size of 8-bit games. And we actually did use the original NES color palette, so we only stuck to that color palette. What we do that's different to like original 8-bit games is that the NES had a limit on how many colors could be displayed on screen at one time. And so what we decided at the start was we'd remove that limitation. So that's why the game
Oh.
like feels really vibrant. You can actually get a lot out of the NES color palette if you just take away that limitation. And so it is like 8-bit art in pretty much every sense, but it's just like taken away that particular limitation.
I was about to say I do a lot of pixel art. Like I like to do it on the side. People don't get to see much of it.
Nice.
For a reason. No,
Me too, man.
I thought this is definitely very 8-bit, but I had a joke thing I put on there. I was like, maybe throw off your fan base by next play doing the 16-bit. But
I've thought about it.
16-bit Adventure 3 is like, wait a minute. This is 8-bit Adventure. You're lying to me.
I mean, the joke I thought up was like 32-bit adventures, so it's like the third 8-bit adventures.
It just keeps going up a bit.
Like in just the way of like, the way that like we went in the console generations, 8,
Yeah.
16.
The next gen upgrade.
Yeah.
You need a PS5 Pro for that.
That was the funniest thing because my like release date announcement trailer happened the day after the PS5 Pro announcement.
Uh-huh.
And so, like, when PlayStation put the trailer up, like, there were just all these comments about, like, buying a PlayStation 5 Pro for, like, this 8-bit game.
Let's put
If you want to see this, the ray tracing in this 8-bit game is amazing.
8K 8-bit.
Yes.
8K.
Yeah. Well, let's put this. Next time, let's put the game and then put the title there and fine print said PS5 Pro Enhanced.
Do it one picture here of and then another picture here that looks the same. Like,
It would.
I don't know which one's better. Like,
Yeah.
This one says PS5 Pro, so maybe it's better.
if you notice, the Pro's bits are crisper. They got more sharper edges. So
Yeah.
I'm going for that one, man. It's worth
More
it.
expensive. Yeah. So I see that you're probably inspired a lot by JRPG games. So have you
Yeah,
always played JRPG games since you were young, or is this something that you caught up when you're kind of like older?
It was definitely like it was my favorite genre when I was a kid. Like there were so many games like on PS1 and like going back to Super Nintendo. So yeah, it was just like literally prolific genre at the time. Final Fantasy X was a huge deal. Everyone played that. So just like it just felt like JRPG was like the premier genre. At the time I was starting to play games. So and I always loved storytelling in games, and I felt like that was the place where it was really happening at a higher level. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So what is your favorite JRPG game then of all time?
Ooh, this is a tough one.
This is always a tough one. I'm gonna say Chrono Trigger. I
freaking love Chrono Trigger.
Nice.
It's one of the best.
Yeah, well, that's it, right? It's like the answer that probably everyone gives, but like it just is such a wonderful game.
I just remember
so
playing it for the first time and how like the characters and stuff in it. I was like, this game is dope. Like this isn't a normal JRPG.
Well, this is the great thing about Chrono Trigger. It's like it's a time when like the best developers at Square and like the creator of Dragon Quest and Akira Toriyama, all these different people came together. They were called like in the promotional marketing at the time in Japan. They were called the Dream Team.
Yeah, the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like it's no wonder that we got such an amazing game out of that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I think that game is still worth like the original game is worth a lot of money right now, as far as far as the retro market.
Yes, 100%. But I've got a copy just over there on the shelf behind me. You can very slightly see it. But I got it back before it was worth a ton of money.
I'm gonna need your address, sir. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, look, you gotta buy a plane ticket to Australia, so I feel like that would cancel out the
my wife is always wanting to go to that place that's right next to Australia that everybody calls Kiwis. So
New Zealand, yeah.
New
Zealand's beautiful.
I have a follow-up question to George's question though. Who's your favorite character in Chrono Trigger? Sorry, the mic's like right in my face.
Ooh, that's okay. That's actually might be even tougher. I'm gonna say Frog. I've always really liked Frog.
Yay! That's my
favorite. I think also okay, yeah. So I think his whole backstory for like the way that he talks and interacts, it's just really fun.
Glenn the Knight. Whoever,
Yeah.
what's his name? Glenn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
he
was
was-
his real name.
That was
I
the
feel
first
like-
thing I noticed when I saw Frog Knight. I was like, "This is amazing."
And
Oh,
also,
he saves you.
Fortnite
He saves
actually
you.
has a really good theme song. Also,
Oh, he does. Yeah, I actually used to play it on piano when I was like a teenager.
Nice.
Wow. Well, this is dope.
Yeah, I think
No.
like, some of these games have amazing like soundtracks too. So like it's just
Oh, yeah.
not just the
Oh.
gameplay that we love, but sometimes I just like search for like these amazing game soundtrack mix-up mashups like on YouTube, and then just like listen to them for like hours when I'm working. So
Oh, me too.
I mean,
yeah.
of course, yeah. During those times, JRPGs games, they didn't care about the graphics. They were all about storytelling and character development
yes,
Yes.
and music, and
Yes.
that's what people spend hours, even replay games again,
Yeah.
over and over.
exactly.
That's it, right? Yeah.
Too, and one thing to think about too is that everything was pretty limited back then as far as graphics.
Mm.
And when you had to have something that stood out past the graphics. Like right when Atari had a ton of Atari games, it was literally 1-bit and stuff, and you had games that were super fun to play. Then you had ET. And you're like, what is this? Let's just bury this in the backyard. It was the same when it came to the JRPGs, because everything had like that same, almost everything had the same art style. Nintendo would try, that's back when the lo-fi box style started coming in and everything like that. But it's still like you had to have something other than your graphics, stuff like that, to pull people in, because it had to be fun, because everything looked the same back then. Everything looked
Everything did.
yeah. There was a couple of things. I mean, you could change up the camera style and stuff like that, but you couldn't like do beyond that. You know what I mean? Like it was, this is it.
I mean, if you
So-
look at like Dragon Quest 1, 2, 3, 4, or like Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, it's like it's very hard to distinguish them if you don't know the games sort of, intimately, right? Like they all really do look pretty much the same. So yeah, it was mechanics, and it was story and world and that kind of thing. Characters,
like Glenn the Knight. Sorry, I'll throw him out there.
yeah,
one time.
exactly.
We need more Night Frog.
For 8-bit adventures, how many characters are there?
Playable characters.
Yes.
So there's 7 in 8-bit adventures too.
Oh, nice. So do
So
they all
what-
have like different do they also have like different classes and abilities, obviously skills?
So yeah, so I don't really use a class system, but the idea was that like each character has their own set of unique abilities that are sort of grouped under sort of concepts like magic user or sort of leadership abilities, or like for example the robot character we have, he equips parts. So rather than having like a normal abilities that he owns, you find parts in the world, and so you equip those parts, and you have to choose which parts to equip to give him his abilities. They don't cost any MP or anything like that, so they can be used infinitely. But you can only equip so many of them. So things like that to differentiate the characters. There's just under 100 unique abilities in the game, so there's a lot to sort of mix and match and play with.
That's super dope.
Yeah, that is very.
And actually, one of the things that I'm proudest about with the combat system is character swapping. So I don't know if anyone played Final Fantasy X, but in that game,
I did. Yes.
Okay, so like in that game, you can just like swap the characters at any time, like without wasting a turn in and out of battle. And so one of the big mechanics in 8-bit Adventures 2 is to do exactly the same thing. And what that means is that you have access to your entire 7-character party in every single fight. So you can come up with strategies that involve like making use of like pretty much all those different abilities across every different character. As you sort of get deeper into the game, and I think there's some really creative strategies that players have come up with.
Yeah.
So is it one of those things where you have to decide what characters you want in there too, right? Because can you infinitely switch them out?
Yeah, so you have like a free character party like in battle, and then you can swap any of those characters out without wasting a turn during
That's
combat.
It's too much.
Trust me,
So
you're
many options.
You're eased into it. You're eased into it over the course of the game, and that's how it all works. If it was just like 7 characters at the start, that would be too much. Yeah,
that'd be quite the fight.
You have to actually like strategically plan out your turns,
Team.
and, like your teams, and
Yeah, because that's the other thing we took from Final Fantasy X, right? Is you can see on the side of the screen there's like the turn order.
Yes,
So
yes,
you know
yes.
what's going to happen in the future, and so it's about sort of, okay, what can I do to prepare best for that, or take out that enemy before they get a turn, things like that.
Yeah, yeah. So I got a little bit excited for Final Fantasy X because that's the only Final Fantasy game that I actually started and finished.
Nice.
And
Okay, it's a
went
good
all
one.
You
the
finished
way.
a Final Fantasy game?
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
also
Wow.
the reason why I remember is because I started that game because my roommate in college had that game, and then he let me play that, and it was right before the midterm, and it was my mistake to actually start the game at that time. And then, like I don't know, spent all night like not studying, obviously playing that game, and then I miserably.
Uh-oh.
I didn't fail the test though, but I didn't do too well on the midterm.
As good as you could have?
Yes. So
I think you made the right choice.
yes,
But you beat the game.
yes,
That's
I
all
did.
that
Yes, I did. Yes, I
you beat
have.
the game and passed the test, so you kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
But,
win-win situation.
yeah.
kind of, yeah.
Yes, that was actually that was good. It was my proud moment. Yes, as a gamer.
I think that game has one of the best battle systems in like JRPGs. So I really wanted to try and take that and do some new things with it.
I think the battle system was very unique. Like no other game could ever kind of replicate that kind of battle system.
And a few tried at the time because there were a lot of like imitators around like the PS2.
So
I'm trying
Josh,
to remember who was some Final Fantasy X.
yeah. So Josh, you said it took
yeah.
9 years for you to develop, or you come all the way here. So like, could you kind of elaborate or?
Yeah. So the first game came out on Steam in 2015. It was received really well, and I'd sort of made some money so that I actually had a budget for the second one.
Nice.
So I decided that like a sequel would be a good way to go, and so I started planning it in sort of mid to late 2015, and then it just I basically made this detailed plan, and the plan just ended up being way too big for the scale of game that I originally planned to make. I hoped that I'd sort of be done in 2 to 3 years. And by year 5, that was pretty obvious that wasn't happening. So it was just one of those things where I guess you'd say I didn't yet have a great understanding of scaling a game, and so but I did feel like the plan that we had and what was coming out of that plan was really, really good. The game was shaping up to be something special, and so it was sort of just about deciding to stay the course and keep pushing through, and it ended up taking 7 years pretty much until the PC launch, and then basically another couple to get the console version done. So it's been quite a long journey.
That's
nice.
That's an amazing journey. And also, I forgot to ask this, but are you like a solo dev or do you have a team?
So we definitely have a team, but it's sort of like I guess I do the core work. So we had an artist, Jerome Fahy. He did wonderful art. We had the composer mentioned before, Sebastian Cruz, and also a programmer, Sufyan Noor. And so, but sort of their work ended sort of a lot earlier in the process, I guess you'd say, just because of the way that game development works. Like asset creation is obviously earlier in the process than sort of finishing the game. It's a team situation, but I'm sort of the one that brings everything together and sort of makes the content that you play directly. So it's
that was dope.
Yeah. So you're the boss.
Yeah,
he's the boss.
The composer.
Yes.
I mean, it's fun, right? Because like collaborating with other people is always good, and I definitely I don't think of myself as like the boss or anything like that. One of the great things about working with like talented professionals is that you sort of give the idea of what you want, and then they sort of they know what needs to be done. They know their respective field better than obviously I do.
Yes.
And so it's fun having that sort of sense of collaboration with other creatives like this to sort of bring the game to life and make it better than it would have been if it was just kind of my ideas in pot.
Definitely.
Just step out of the way, let them do their thing.
Literally, yeah, exactly.
Here's what I want you to do.
Yeah.
They just
Literally, it's direction, right? It's
Yes.
basically like, this is what's needed for the game. But then, oftentimes they'll have a really good idea about how to meet that need. So yeah, I was very fortunate with the people that I got on board. They
That's
were really
amazing.
good.
I think Chris from Toge. Chris is the founder and CEO of Toge, and then he also mentioned that, like, he kind of like gives them a little bit of a direction, and then just let them do their thing, and then amazing things happen. So
I think that's the way to handle like
Yeah.
anyone creative, right? Like just let the people do the work that they are good at, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Get
Micromanagement
in the way.
doesn't work for indie.
No.
Never.
I
Especially
mean,
for creative people. Yeah.
I feel like that it would just be is more fun though too, because then everybody's got a place in it. The game definitely has a more flavor, right? Because it's got
Exactly.
I know this is going to sound kind of corny, but it has different ingredients, right? Of everybody's style and stuff like that, and put in there. And if you all can sit down and play the game without feeling like it's you're like, oh God, we might need to rethink some things, then you did a good job. I mean, you know what I mean?
And I think it's just about like knowing that like no one person has all the answers for everything in a
That's
game.
true.
I mean, obviously you get like purely solo devs that do amazing work, but even in a lot of those cases, like you'll still have a composer brought on or an artist for some things or something like that. Like it's usually game making is very much a collaborative art in my view. So I think it just makes it better when you do collaborate.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So you're saying working for an indie dev is going to be a lot better?
You just won't get paid as much. Is the problem.
Hey, I can live in my van. No big deal.
But it'll be fun.
It'll be a lot more fun. Yeah.
I mean, I'll take fun over money any day, to be honest with you. I know it sounds weird.
No, I get it.
Yeah, I think people have different preferences. So
I've been making a living for 16 years and I hate it. I'll promise you that. Oh God, gotta go to work. Oh. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm not.
So I haven't played the first one, but like, do they have like a continuing story? Like, do the same characters appear on the both episode or both titles? Or?
Yeah. So basically, the second one is a direct sequel. So you do get the same like characters and like towns and things like that. Obviously, a lot's changed in sort of the gap between games. But with that said, though, like one of the main things I wanted to do with 8-Bit Adventures 2 was create like an entry point, because I knew that most people playing the game probably wouldn't have played the first one. So it was sort of a thing about like, okay, I want to sort of service the hardcore fans that I've built up from the release of that first game, but also sort of bring in new people and not have any friction there. So I was very mindful about trying to make sure that the game explains everything, that you don't sort of feel like you're left out of the story or anything like that. There's nothing confusing, and also provide some new characters that can provide fresher perspective.
That's amazing.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So
I'm actually over here trying to look up 8-Bit Adventures, the first one.
So
it'll look a lot rougher. I drew a lot of art in that one. So
that won't be on coming to console though, right?
That one's not coming to console yet. I would basically have to remake it. So yeah.
8-Bit Adventure remake next gen.
I mean, maybe. It's something I'd really like to do because I think
you did this.
On console.
8-Bit Adventures 1 was out in 2015.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know.
It's got a really. I like some of the images I have here. I remind me a lot of some of the games I played for Next Fest, so it's not that bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's just it's like, how do you make a game when you have like no budget?
Wait, did you? In part of the game, did you make a Game Boy looking thing?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Easter egg.
That was fun.
Got put the Easter egg in RPG. That's it.
That's it. Yeah, well, there's a whole dungeon that was like in a Game Boy style in the first game, so that was fun.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
That is. So the first one is your first project then?
No, I actually my first game was 2011. That was an RPG, a very basic RPG, I guess you'd say, called Path of Thanatos, and that was released on. There used to be sites like Amaranth Games and Aldolia Games, which was sort of just for indie RPGs, like games often made with a lot of stock assets and stuff like that. So that was where I got my start, and then I moved on to the original version of 8-Bit Adventures 1, which was not a very good game, but that released in January 2013. Then I moved on to doing mobile projects. So I made several mobile games. And then I got an email from a company that was interested, that basically was saying to me that, I should put 8-Bit Adventures 1 on Steam, which was a big deal at the time because of green light being the process back then.
Yes.
And so I sort of was a bit ashamed of how that game had turned out. So I sort of said, well, give me a few months to revamp it completely and make it into something better. And so that's the version that then ended up hitting Steam in 2015. And then I actually made another small game called Tales Across Time, sort of in between 8-Bit Adventures 1 and 2. So
wow. So
yeah, it's I think I'm trying to remember now. 8-Bit Adventures 2, I think, is like my technically like 9th project or something like that.
Which took you 9 years to develop. Ooh.
Oh.
Okay. That's good.
So I was building up my skills for a while there.
So are we going to see more video games coming from Critical Gaming? Is it Critical Gaming?
Critical Games, yeah. I hope so. I really hope so. But one step at a time. I am working, as I mentioned, on free DLC for 8-Bit Adventures 2 right now. So that'll come out early next year. I've also got 2 other projects in the works, one of which should be revealed next year as well. So I'm very excited about that one. I can't say anything about it, but I'm
Can we invite you again when that happens?
Oh, please, yeah. I'd love that.
Yes.
Like George is nice. I'm like, get the battery cables. We're finding out who's doing it. No,
I think that'll be really cool. And then there's another project as well that I'm working on, and then we'll see. I guess what happens from there. But I'm trying to basically do some projects that I can make in sort of a year and a half rather than 9 years.
nice.
So the sequel is coming too? The third one? Is it?
That is not one of the projects I'm working on.
Oh, but is it a possibility?
It's something I know what happens in it, but to make it happen would definitely require a bigger budget. So it's one of those.
Okay, so
you get more ambitious, right? And that requires money.
Nice. So investors, if you're looking into some returns, here's the. I'm just kidding, but anyway,
I've hopefully got a few potential leads when it comes to that, but we'll see how things play out.
Get this man what he needs. We need the third adventure.
Yes, the adventure continues, just like Final Fantasy. What's the latest one? Like 16, 17?
16,
20 something. I don't know. I'm supposed to.
Well, look, if you want to get really technical and include all the spin-offs, I mean, I'm sure it's like Final Fantasy 40 something, but
they just have so much. Like
God.
Final Fantasy for the longest time, every time one dropped, that was just everybody flocked to it, right? So
it was an event, yeah.
Yeah, so like anywhere from he said 1, I think I played the second one up to the 7th one. And then I know of the other ones because I watch other people play them. I don't have that much time in my life. But I mean, and then you have Final Fantasy World. There's a mobile Final Fantasy game. There's
tons of them. Yeah,
there's so many.
Insane. Yeah,
it's a battle royale too.
Oh,
yeah, I played that one.
That one got shut down. Yeah,
that one got shut down.
It did get shut down, but I did play it at first. It was kind of fun. I was like, wait, what does this one do? Where's the?
They're trying to hit all the genres.
They really are.
If it works,
Well, I guess that one probably didn't work, seeing as I shut it down. But
I played it. It wasn't horrible.
No, I thought it was all right.
But I played it on my phone into my computer, so I had a bigger screen, so it was fun. But it was overwhelming how much stuff you could do in that battle royale because it's a Final Fantasy game. So they're like, yeah, you could have these spells too, and I'm like
summons and
some. I think it lost a lot of the core players too. I don't think the core players really were into a battle royale version of.
No.
I think if they'd released it on PlayStation, that probably would have helped. Like if they had like the sort of their main audience, that probably would have maybe created a little more buzz around the game. But yeah.
A quick question, just a personal question, but like,
Please.
so in order to release a game into a console, like, do you just apply? Is there like I don't know, like a Google form that you lay out, or do you just like email them and say, "Hey, I have this game on Steam. Can I just release it on console?" Or how does that process work?
It is a very, very long process. Like put aside like 6 months just for preparing all the like console backend stuff.
Wow.
Like so every company basically has like a developer backend portal. So you've got to request access to that, which means you've got to basically send them a rundown of like what your game concept is, like where the project's at, and all that kind of thing. And then from there, obviously there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of setup it requires, and a lot of approvals and all that sort of thing. So it's a really lengthy, ongoing process. It's like Steam, by comparison, is probably like a few hours of work. Certainly, once you've done the process before, like it's gets very quick and easy. But yeah, consoles are a real big effort. Doing everything on console is big.
So they have to approve your game.
Yeah.
Oh, so like that's why. So have you? I don't know. I don't know if you can answer this question, but have you applied to every console, like Switch and Xbox too? Like, or have you just applied for PlayStation?
No, we're on everything. So yeah, Ape Adventures 2 launched on Switch.
Yeah, it's on everything.
PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S. So yeah, we're all over the shop.
So my question was like, which is the most difficult to get approved? Is it Switch? Is it Nintendo?
Ooh, for the initial approval. No, actually, Switch was actually the first one that I did get approved for.
Oh,
wow, that's actually impressive.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I don't think any of them was hard to get approved for in the initial stage. It's more that like some of them have harder processes than others to work through after that initial approval. I think initial approval, generally speaking, the console companies are pretty lax on at this point in the generation cycle, right? I think it seems to be it starts harder when a console first comes out, and then it gets gradually easier. Yeah. I can't really talk about like the processes that go on the back end stuff, initial approval, but some are definitely harder than others, and some are very time consuming.
Oh, they saw 8-bit coming and said, "Okay, we got to get us in here. We're all the JRPG games here."
I mean, that's what it feels like sometimes.
Well, technically, this year is like kind of the year of JRPGs. If you saw how many comes out,
yeah.
So
which is great for the genre. But
I think JRPGs are always fun, though. To be honest with you, it's just depending on if they're boring or not. You know what I mean? Like
they've just seen a real comeback, right? Like over recent years, like it sort of seemed to die off during sort of like the second half of Xbox 360 and PS3. So
that's true.
The next time I'm waiting for Dragon Quest HD.
Oh yeah, Dragon Quest 12 should be great. Oh, sorry, free HD. Yes, indeed.
Free HD remake. Yeah, that'd be
That's probably my most hyped game at the moment.
You know, it's one thing I noticed about your game too, and I was like, "What's going on right now?" Is your characters were staring at me when I was fighting. Like I was worried. I was like, "Turn around! They're behind you." They're just like, I was like, "No."
So I don't know if anyone's played Mother 3 on the GBA. That's the third game in like the Earthbound series. But basically that uses a similar thing where the character sprites like pop up from the UI during battle, and basically it's a way to sort of, in a front-facing battle system, it's just a way to sort of have the expressiveness of the characters on full display during battle. So rather than sort of thinking about them as part of like the actual battle scene, it's more intended to be like part of the UI. Because like if they were part of the battle scene, right, they would be these little tiny pixel guys, and the monsters would be these.
You would just see their back,
like, full scale. And you say that's the thing, right? It's like I started with the idea of the back, sort of like a Phantasy Star, but then I felt like the problem with that is that you don't really get to see the characters emoting, during the combat. So I thought I'd try and take the Mother 3 approach instead.
Yeah, I thought that's one thing I realized, and I noticed that your guy like makes little faces when he gets it and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's pretty cool. Yeah, no, I was like, I understand. I kind of understood what you were doing, but in the same sense, I was like, turn around, it's dangerous. But no, it's That's super cool.
And like when they do like combo or trio abilities where they sort of team up, you get to sort of play with that as well.
A cool little
with
scene.
the sprite animations. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It was pretty cool. I was like,
Oh, thank
yay! Because I think the first one, because I played the demo. No, I liked what I played on the demo, but what was the move your main guy has that you're able to do? It's like a mega something.
Oh yeah,
I know
the Omega Burst is my my
yeah.
break. Yeah.
I hit it and I planned on just seeing like a big swipe or something, and it was like I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, like 50, like all the swords like forming a circle. And
yeah, there's one. The last one goes clunk. I was like, all right. I thought that was super dope.
Yeah, no, I think it's fun to make those like big attacks feel really impactful, especially in a turn-based game, because that's how you sort of get the I don't know what you'd say, sort of impact from something, right? Because you're not like pressing a button and the attack is happening. You're sort of giving a command and watching the attack happen. So you need to land the impact in a different way.
Yeah, kind of like when you would call like a god for Final Fantasy, and you call him down, and it would just have this huge spectacle. I like the two brothers. They were my favorite ones. The ones that
were in Final Fantasy. Oh wait, no, Final Fantasy 8, because there was a brothers summon you could do in that one.
I can't. It was the ones where the guy would come down. One was bigger than the littler one, and the little one would throw the big one at him. I don't know if you.
Oh, I think that might be 8.
Yeah,
I think that's 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I used to
I
love
think
those
that's
guys.
the brothers you get from like the temple you go to just before Dolet. But yeah,
that's why.
Yes.
They were I just liked them because they're big and dumb like me.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I love the little animation scene, especially with the attack when you made it part of the sprite and it actually had its own cinematic. I thought that was really dope.
Thank you. Yeah, that kind of thing I think is really important. So yeah, it's worth the extra money to make things look flashy.
Right, it's better than just a and like
yeah.
It was like it was super dope.
Yeah, you want to really like feel the power of that attack.
Mm-hmm.
That is true.
So, except for marketing, what was the most difficult part of developing the game? Like, is it like coming up with these cool skill names, or was it the building up these characters, or
that kind of stuff comes pretty naturally, just because like that's the kind of thing that I enjoy.
Nice. Okay.
Like particularly doing. I generally describe myself as like a game designer / writer, so that kind of thing is all in my wheelhouse. I mean, really the hardest part, right, was just trying to make finish a game as the years dragged on, because you experience a lot of burnout as so like by year 5 you're really sort of getting tired of it and you're ready to move on to something else. Like just trying to deal with burnout and trying to make sure that you can stick with it and don't give up. I think that kind of like mental health aspect is the biggest part of making a game, especially like I'm in a bedroom essentially. That's where I work, so like I don't like see other people during work time. I interact with people online, but particularly like during the pandemic when we sort of were in that like year 5, year 6 of development, it was a little cut off. So I think that was probably the biggest challenge.
Right. Yeah.
With your stories and your characters too, have you been completely based? Is like your main when you're getting your ideas for the story and your characters, does it usually come from video games or do you get it from anywhere else? Is like anything else that kind of
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, like, obviously, like, video games are a big element, but I'm a huge fan of all kinds of different like franchises and stories. I mean, for the character work, I particularly like the old Star Wars novels by Timothy Zahn. That influences me a lot because I think he writes just really good like interpersonal connection. But like just all sorts of like franchises and movies. I mean, obviously Star Trek. That's obviously such a well written, like sort of procedural, like story to story kind of show. And so I'm really taking things from everywhere, and obviously like taking things from sort of my experience and life, and sort of just like what kind of ideas I want to explore in the context of the story. So yeah, it's a bit of a smorgasbord approach.
That's dope.
Nice.
No, I just wondered like if there was something to just like, you have ever been just sitting there watching a TV show or movie and you're like, I got to write that into the game. That
Oh
was
yeah,
really
for sure.
awesome.
Like for sure. Honestly, like usually it's very little things. Like it's very very minor things. It's usually about like how they executed something rather than like a particular like story idea. But there's that happens all the time. I mean, one example I talk about a lot with video games is I was playing a game called Shadow Hearts on PS2, and that game's bosses, the way they're designed, they all have an elemental weakness, but only each one of your party members has like a particular elemental affinity. But if you get into the boss battle without having the right character, you're kind of somewhat screwed because you just need to bring in the right character for a boss battle, but you don't know what that boss is going to need.
Right.
So that inspired the idea in 8-Bit Adventures 2 of the save point being able to give boss tips. And so it's like if you want to know what's coming up and you want to know what you should prepare for, that sort of is in the game to tell you and give you advance warning.
Read the book.
Things like that.
That's true. Make sure you save. There's no auto save.
No, there is an autosave. There's an
okay.
autosave, and you can save anywhere. But there's the save point is basically used for like warning you that like a boss is coming up or that a major event is coming up, so you should, prepare.
But you do remember like when back in the day when we played the classic JRPG, there was no auto save.
No autosave. You would
so
lose
like, oh
hours
my
of
gosh.
Kids, please remember to save. Please.
Yes.
That
Save your
the
file,
whole
your documents, your game. Please
The
save.
boss
Have a
fight.
habit now.
the boss fights where they just constantly keep launching you into the boss fight after there's no rest or it's like you're like, oh my god, I can't.
The ones where it's like multiple fights in a row and you have no idea what's coming up.
You're like, I didn't do it the first 20 times. I'm not going to do it the 21st time.
Yeah, I remember getting invited to the or showcase for Shin Megami Tensei 5, and I played for like 2 hours, and then I didn't know it was like not auto saving, and then I died, and then I had to go all the way back to like 2 hours ago. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to play this game anymore. I just quit.
Wow.
I forgot to save, and I was like, oh my gosh. Oh, I was like,
You
literally.
think for an event they would probably set up an autosave just to avoid that situation, but yeah.
Literally cried. But yeah. Kids, please save your work.
I just see somebody rubbing your back. You're like, it's just, I can't.
It's okay.
I know what happens after this. Like, I know. I'm from the future.
2 hours is enough. It's fine.
But anyway, that was funny. Now I think about it, it's funny, but like back then I was like literally crying, so. I was calling someone for help. But anyways. Yeah. No, that's funny.
Worst day ever.
So I think, do you guys have any more questions? I think, do you have any more questions, Anthony, for Josh or Critical Games or 8-Bit Adventures?
Well, I do have one question about that character, the robot.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So where'd you get the inspiration of deciding to add a robot as a party character?
So, okay, this is really, really funny, right? As you know, like, huge fan of Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Was making this game, figuring out the party. In the first game, there were these, like, robot NPCs.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, oh, it'd be really fun to, like, have one of those as like, a playable character. So let's do that. It was, like, 8 or 9 months later that someone said, oh, like, robot, like Chrono Trigger. And I'm like, yeah, wait a second. How did I not realize this when I was putting this together? So bizarrely, it wasn't directly inspired by Chrono Trigger.
What are you talking about? There's no robot. Oh, God.
I hadn't, for some reason, I hadn't clicked because, like, I was thinking of this as, like, based on something from the first game rather than based on, like, something external. So I'm sure subconsciously it's got to be Chrono Trigger, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sort of was one of those moments where it's like, I'm a fake Chrono Trigger fan.
I mean, it's fine. I mean, I remember playing one game. Have you played Saga Frontier?
Oh, that's a PS1 game, right?
Yes. Yes, and
I,
so
I, played, I played a little bit of it a long time ago.
they
Yeah.
had a robot character that you could add to the party also, and had no MP at all.
That's right. That's right. Okay, yeah. That one was not intentional, but I think that's really cool. What we're probably actually getting that from, like both Saga and like me are probably subconsciously getting that from, is the androids in Dragon Ball, because they had like
Android 18.
self-producing energy. Yeah, so they didn't need to sort of like power up or anything. They just had like an infinite energy source.
Yeah.
That's true.
I love those guys, but I have a friend of mine who's obsessed with Android 18. And I just get
I've seen a few people.
I'm like
that.
she's a cartoon, man, and he's like, I'm like it's
But what a cartoon!
It's gonna be okay. Yeah, I'm like, it's gonna be okay. It's just cartoon. He's like, yeah, but she's just. I'm like, okay, I'm done. No. You know what's sad about Sega too, and I know this is kind of crazy off topic, but when we're talking Sega's, I always feel like Sega's almost always had the best characters in video games. And
Sega's up the great ones, yeah.
Yeah, like they have such great characters, then it just, I don't know. It seems like they never do much with their IPs and stuff. It just
well, they're trying at the moment.
Yeah, I saw they're suing somebody. I guess that could have been part of the news. Think about it. Whoops.
But like they announced a Shinobi movie, which is interesting, and then like they've got a new Golden Axe, a new Crazy Taxi, a new Jet Set Radio.
I remember Jet Set Radio. Oh my god!
Yeah, so they're trying to dig into the IP well at the moment to bring back some of that stuff.
Well, I always liked when it comes to those characters. I always liked, of course, the witch from. I'm going to do it again.
This is the moment.
I'm just gonna push on.
Zach moment.
Yeah. No, it's a Zach moment. No, you guys know what I'm talking about. She's the witch who uses her hair for fighting and stuff like that.
Shantae?
Huh?
Shantae?
No, there was like one of their biggest IPs, but the lady who played her's dead. I think did her voicing for her. She literally just died.
And then
hold on one second.
Hang on.
I'll do this every time. I swear to God.
Yeah,
I think I remember.
Bayonetta. Sorry.
Oh, Bayonetta. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Nintendo owns that one now.
Yeah, so Bayonetta was a Sega character at first, and then also, I don't know if you guys ever heard of a game called Mad World. It was a black and white video game on the Wii, and it was really adult. But I loved the characters in that, like the Marine with the chainsaw arm and stuff like that. I was just like, come on, man. But
yeah, that's Platinum Games. So like they're the ones that sort of, I think they still own the Mad World IP. Okay, Nintendo bought Bayonetta, I think.
I don't know if they're ever going to do anything again with it, but I love that game. The game was so good.
A remaster would be great to see.
Oh yeah.
At least, yeah.
Sorry, this will take forever if we keep this up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Basically, I love Sega. I'm sorry that they got beat up so hard.
Yeah. The Dreamcast was sad.
Yes, very sad, tragic story. But anyways,
that was. Oof, I feel bad for anybody who bought one of those. Anthony, you got one, don't you?
I actually don't know. I got to check my box. One of the boxes.
It's like I gotta look at my box store area. Yeah. Actually, I'm pretty sure. Honestly, I haven't looked at it, but I'm pretty sure buying one of those would be like more expensive now.
It was very cheap when I got one like 12 years ago. So
yeah, because all those retro stuff is back now. It's huge.
It's huge and it's very expensive. Yeah.
Yes, a lot of retro stuff.
But I still have all the old system in my closet, so
nice,
and they still work.
Oh,
that's the main thing.
So we also have to visit Anthony's house to kind of like.
Oh, we're going to Anthony's house. That's for sure.
First Josh's house, and then Anthony's house.
Mine's a little further away, so
it'll take a while. We'll get there.
Actually, he is closer.
I'm closer from you, I think.
Oh, but actually, that's a good point. Yeah, Hmm.
I mean,
we'll probably come over in like an airship. It'll look like a old ship, but it'll have some balloons on the top.
I could accept being robbed if it was via airship.
Yeah, we'll just come. No, we won't rob you. We're just coming to say hi.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood.
We're gonna add you to the party. Like, jump in, man. We got things to do.
and,
You're like,
and then rob Anthony's closet, obviously, together. The three of us.
we're gonna need armor, Anthony. We have to sell some things. Okay, we can't go to battle without this.
To be honest, I actually have a medieval sword also.
Oh, nice.
I like to collect fantasy weapons.
Okay. So we're gonna tell Anthony like, okay, we need the fund for the sequel of 8-Bit Adventure. So we need to sell all of
Gotta
those.
sell everything you own.
Yeah, sell everything you own.
It's worth the investment. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun. But yeah, it was very nice talking to you, Josh. Do you have anything to add before we end the episode to the audience or gamers who would like to?
There's a demo on every platform, so if you're curious about the game, then please download it, just give it a go, and see if it connects with you. But I know 8-Bit Adventures 2 out now on everything, so please check it out if you like story-rich JRPGs.
Yes,
I played the demo. I thought it was super fun.
Thanks, Zach.
I was actually sad it went so fast. I was like, what?
Don't worry, the
It's like
game is actually quite long.
You want to play the game, you gotta buy it. I was like, what? No.
Don't worry, it's quite long.
What's the average gameplay or gameplay time?
About 30 to 40 hours.
Oh my
That is really
god!
long.
So, but you if you just beeline the story, you can do it in about 25. So
Jesus God!
it's an RPG. It's an RPG.
Zach has to reschedule his streaming and all that.
I'd have to start a whole new life. I'd have to leave my family.
I had to start something new because I got the Final Fantasy remastered ones, the collections. So I
Nice.
Again.
Physical?
Yeah, physical.
Yeah, cool.
I love collecting physical.
Yeah,
I was about to say, we got plenty for you to do. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just switching.
Do you have a physical copy for the 8-Bit Adventures or no?
Not yet. I've been asked this a lot though, so I'm working on making it happen. Now that we're sort of digital is out, I can sort of try and make the physical happen. So
nice.
Hopefully, if all goes well, I'll have some news about that in future.
I can tell you who's gonna buy that physical copy. It's one of three of us. It's I know who's gonna buy that. I know who's all into the physical copies.
Especially if it's a limited edition version out there that comes.
I might buy a T-shirt if you make a T-shirt. I'm just saying.
I think a T-shirt would be about the same cost as the game.
right.
Well, I mean, like as far as in buying something digital, it would be amazing to have enough room to just have tons of awesome physical copies of everything. But
yeah,
I do love physical. I do love everything comes physical, but I'd rather do digital just because I can't. There's too much stuff in my house already.
The convenience factor, yeah.
But if I'm wearing a shirt, I could be walking around. Somebody's like, "Hey man, what's 8-Bit Adventures 2?" I'm like, bro, you don't know what it is, bro. It's so dope. And then possibly shoot you another customer. Do some
marketing. If that customer is like some super rich person, then
yeah, like, hey man, get in there.
No,
you haven't played it yet? What's wrong with you?
I know the guy too.
I know the dad. Talk to him. He's a great guy, man. I love him. Go play his game. What are you doing? Well, I'm out here trying to hang out with my family. No. Go get him. I'll hang out with your family. Get out of here. I got this. No.
You got marketing to do.
That's marketing right there.
Just turn that into a commercial. That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
Record it, and then put it on YouTube.
Like some
guys out there in the park, spending his time with his family, and he's just like he's like, oh, I love my family. This is a great day. And then the guy walks up, he's like, hey, that's a cool shirt. Where he's like, you know what this game is? Go play it right now. The guy's like, I'm here with my family, and he goes, no, I got your family. You go. I'll take care of this. You've got more important things to do, sir. Next thing you just see him playing the game, like he was right. This is dope.
It makes me think of like the Bone Storm commercial from The Simpsons, where it's like, "Buy Bone Storm or go to hell."
Oh god. Oh,
That's
okay.
awesome.
So I think this is the hardest moment for all the episodes. This is
I actually
where,
cry after it's
yes,
over.
this is where Zach kind of starts to cry. We
I
have
don't do it in
to-
front of the camera because I'm too tough.
Yeah, we have
I
to
do it in
take
the
a
bathroom.
Bible at some point. But yeah, thanks for coming to the episode. And if like really like if the project for the next year is approaching, you know, if there's like a release date or something that you need to promote, you can always come back and talk to us again because I really enjoy talking to you. We
Oh,
all
thank you
do,
very
I
much.
think.
Yeah, I know. I had an absolutely great time. I'd love to come back anytime. So yeah, no, I will definitely will make that happen.
Yes.
And if you feel like putting any characters with mustaches and glasses in your next coming game, let me know. I can provide pictures for you.
Also, voice acting too.
Yeah, I can do the voice acting as well. Yeah. No.
You could be-
The classic sound.
yeah,
Oh my
I love
god.
the idea of someone like actually making that sound.
Oh,
Like,
While they're talking in real life. And then people are like, "What are you saying?" Like, you can't see the letters above my head.
Yeah,
yes.
It's for my balloon.
Oh, funny. So, everyone go play at 8-Bit Adventures 2. It's on all the platforms.
I'm
Right?
wishlisting it right
Yes,
now.
and wishlist or play it. At least play the demo.
Thanks,
and see
everyone.
if it's,
Thank you very much.
Your cup of tea. Thank you for coming. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. And we will come back with the next episode. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Zach and
Thanks,
Anthony.
Josh.
A pleasure. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Bye,
Bye
everyone.
bye.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
The outro
Gonna miss-
music plays.
We're gonna miss you.
Yeah, we will miss you. Really.
I have separation anxiety.
We all miss you.
I'm always a Discord message away.
Friends with the dev.